welcome to Rehab My Soul. I am Lamiski Love, your host, and today we are joined by professional mother herself and lover and protector of her family, Melissa Miller. Hey Melissa, how you doing?
Hey, Lemiski, thank you so much for having me on your podcast today. It's great to be here.
You are so welcome. It's great to have you. So, my intro for you was professional mother and lover of your and protector of your family. So your story is a deep story of transition and transformation and just overcoming an obstacle that you couldn't foresee coming. So I'd love for you to get into it and tell everybody your story so we can talk about it.
Absolutely. Okay. Hey, y'all. My name's Melissa Miller. I am a former certified nursing assistant turned full-time stay-at-home mom and spousal caregiver. And I am 2 years into my journey as a stay-at-home mom and a spousal caregiver. The journey started because of an unexpected diagnosis of epilepsy for my husband. And it has just been a journey of adjustment and navigating what works best for my family and empowering and becoming an advocate for other women who are thrust in the prime when they still have kids at home of what to do. Do I stay at home to take care of my family and my husband or partner following an unexpected illness or injury? Or do I try to outsource so I can still work outside the home and still make sure my spouse or partner gets the care that they need? And so I basically come in as a mom mentor and as caregiver coach with helping them navigate the adjusting phase and even just deciding if this is the right fit and option for my family because no two situations are the same.
For sure, for sure. So, how can you share like the story of how you guys found out about your husband's diagnosis and how that
Absolutely.
shifted you?
Yes. So in December of 2019, we woke up one morning at 4:30 in the morning to change our almost 1-year-old daughter's diaper. She was crying, so we were just getting up to tend to her. I stepped out of her room for a minute to do something, and when I came back, my husband had a really weird look on his face. It was kind of a glazed look, and I asked him, "Are you okay?" And he got three words out. "I don't know." And he just passed out. It was so scary. He just passed out, and when he came to, he had no knowledge of what happened. And he was holding our daughter at the time, and I caught her before he went down, and he totally smashed a box. It was scary. So naturally, I was thinking with my career brain, my medical brain, of he's there is a 20-year age gap almost, so he is in his early 50s, and obviously raising a child in your 50s is a little bit different than when you're in your 20s or 30s. So I thought maybe he's just tired, maybe he just has a chemical imbalance of some sort. He's just sleep deprived. He was working 40 plus hours a week at his job at the time to help provide for our family. So I thought it was something simple like that. So naturally, we went to the doctor or to the ER in the hospital. And they basically just said, let's just follow up with your primary. They didn't really find anything that really clued us in at that point that it was something neurological. But thank God I should say, my husband's primary doctor caught on to something that it was neurological. So he recommended we start doing some testing with the neurologist. And it started out slow in the beginning. We thought maybe he has a seizure disorder or something, but we just really weren't sure because he had one more episode in January of 2020, and he had another one in March of 2020. And it was just relatively slow. We were just watching him. Nothing. He started medication. Nothing seemed to be really of concern. But in April, that was the first month where his seizure activity just ramped up. That was the first month he had 10 to 20 plus seizures a month. It was so bad. He blew through his first medication, and that's when we were clued in that there definitely is something seizure related going on, seizure disorder related. We didn't have a diagnosis of epilepsy at that point either. So in May, that's when it really started. We transitioned to working with a neurologist specialist and started just trying to figure out. Then it just became a battle for the next 3 months of just of figuring out um, what kind of medicine would work for my husband with slowing the seizures down. And I began a journey of realizing this is going to be our life. I cannot afford to leave my daughter at home, risking my husband having seizures and no adult being here to take care of him and making sure that she's safe, and just figuring out what to do since I had no other healthcare, other experience, excuse me, except healthcare. And so it wouldn't be until July of, I was on medical leave at that point, and I didn't give my resignation until July of 2020 when we got an official diagnosis from a more detailed MRI scan that confirmed and showed shrinkage in my husband's left front temporal lobe. That was the confirmation that our neurologist needed, that he did have epilepsy. And so that just clinched it for me. I decided I'm going to build an online business from home, and I'm going to stay home full time because everything else that I was looking into for remote work either required a bachelor's, a master's, X amount of years of experience, or me being tied down to my computer and hitting certain quotas a day and deadlines that did not allow for me dropping everything if my husband had a seizure and needed me to take care of him and our 1 year old daughter. So that's what started it all, really, in a nutshell.
Wow. Wow. Just like that, your life changed, right? Just one morning.
Absolutely. And the funny thing I want to say with epilepsy specifically is that usually it's caught with either knowing you have prior family history or as a child. My husband had neither. So he unfortunately falls in that awful 20% of the population that for no apparent reason, no prior medical history, they will be diagnosed within their lifetime with a seizure disorder of some sort. And that's where he falls, where he gets it. So it's not from his medical history or history as a child. He just falls in the crazy, weird, freaky 20% of the population that develops a seizure disorder of some sort.
Wow. Man, talk about surrendering to a situation. There's no choice there. And you having the wherewithal to know what you know about being online. Like, imagine if you didn't have that skill set or even that knowledge that you could build a business online to do this, to take care of your family.
Right. Well, and I found that was like the last thing I found that I could. I found some stuff about from Create and Go and some other the really big bloggers in the industry, um, that really kind of got me into the headspace of okay, blogging and online entrepreneurship. Obviously, I will say where I started of thinking what I was going to do with my online business in the beginning is obviously way different than what it is now because I've gotten more clarity throughout my journey. I definitely am more focused on tapping into my story. It took me a while to get there. I started my first website and blog in May of 2020, and I niched down like 4 or 5 different times because I was just clueless on what to do. And I didn't have a coach at the time either. And that didn't come until October when I realized I need help. I have no clue what I'm doing. And she really helped me, and continues to help me with getting clear on what I want to do. And by December of 2020 is when I finally nailed down, why am I trying to reinvent the wheel? I have a story that needs to be shared. And upon a lot of research, there is a significant lack of support for women who have to unexpectedly make this hard choice of becoming a full-time spousal caregiver and stay-at-home mom at a younger age. We anticipate caring for our spouses when they retire and when they're like 60 or above, when they're naturally starting to have more health problems with their bodies breaking
Right.
down. But we don't anticipate it when we're in our prime and when we have small children at home or even teenagers. I don't care what age your kids are. You don't expect to caregive when you still have kids at home and you're not old and gray yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 50, having health issues hit you like 50s or lower is like a kind of unexpected. You don't anticipate that. You're still
Yeah.
in your prime. And for me being 20, almost 20 years younger, I was only like 33, 34 when this whole thing started. So I was a young, new first time mom. My husband was still in his prime. And except for being an ex smoker, he really has no other health issues. So it was really hit us in the gut, unexpected type of thing.
Wow. So this is a spiritual podcast, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we're diving into your story to feel with you all the
Mm-hmm.
things that you felt and how you have transitioned. and to sample your strength and your resourcefulness and all of these beautiful things. How did you keep your spirit high? How did you keep your soul strong through all of these changes? And like you said, it's so unexpected. You're in your prime. You're
Absolutely.
much younger than your spouse. So there is some level of care that may be anticipated, but he's still young. You guys are both still young. You've got a
Right.
young baby.
Right.
So how
Right.
did you keep yourself focused and strong? And did you have moments of weakness? Did you not really so much weakness of letting the mask down and just showing what you were feeling on the inside?
Absolutely. Excuse me. I definitely am a spiritual person. I'm a Christian. I believe in God and Christ, and my faith is very important to me. But I will be honest that in the beginning, I had trouble leaning into that. It's like, you have those questions anytime something really, really cataclysmic happens in our lives. We do tap into that spiritual question of why. Why did X, Y, and Z happen to me? And I obviously went there. I was angry. I was scared. I was frustrated, and we were all, think about it, in 2020 we were all reeling with the added stress of a worldwide pandemic on top of it. So
Yes.
that was definitely playing into my decisions I made to stay at home, because I was thinking with my caregiver brain too, besides my spiritual brain, of like, I don't want to be having mother's guilt, spousal guilt for not being here for my family and navigating through this. But I was still wrestling with those questions of why. Why is this happening on top of everything else happening in the world right now? We don't need another hit, because it happened. When my husband started having seizures in December of 2019. We shut down for the pandemic between January and March, and I was still actively working as a certified nursing assistant. So I was dealing with all the restrictions and protocols with my healthcare job because we were buttoning down the hatches because of the pandemic. And then my husband's health just takes, by April and May, my husband's health just takes a nosedive. And so on top of the pandemic crap I'm dealing with, I'm leaving, I go on medical leave, I'm having to start navigating this decision. So it did kind of feel in the beginning like I was being attacked spiritually as well as mentally and emotionally, because we were grieving. When something like this happens, you don't just grieve. um Let me back up here. Hang on. You do grieve the loss of the life. Like, my husband's illness has impacted how we parent. He can never be home alone with our daughter anymore for safety, because we never know when a seizure is going to be here, is going to hit, and he cannot be left alone because we need someone here in case he does have a seizure, because it is, he needs rescue medication,
Yeah.
and who knows, what if he falls and hits his head and might have a concussion? We need to call 911 or transport him to the hospital. And someone
Yeah.
has to stay with our daughter because, again, the hospitals are restricting still. So there's so much more. So I dealt with a lot of anger in the beginning, resentment, not at, resentment that this happened to our family, not at my husband, because this was not his fault. And it wasn't my fault. And it wasn't our daughter's fault. Um, but just being angry and having to come back and lean back into my faith again, reconnect spiritually with the Lord, of just coming to that peace of like, okay, I know this wasn't done to me to be mean to me, but how do I navigate this, and how can I spin it to have something good out of that? And really, the Miski, my job, building my online business, has been that ray of hope. It's like something, so this situation that happened to us has been so hard, but yet I'm choosing, and I want to lean into this being a spiritual journey. Besides financially supporting my family, but also a spiritual journey where I'm still being of service, because I loved being a certified nursing assistant for the elderly and working in long-term care facilities, and I saw that as a ministry. So God is giving that back to me, to where I'm at now with all the inner work I've done and the spiritual reconnection and growth, that God is giving me this opportunity to still be of service to someone else and help another mom not go through what I went through. I don't want another mom to have to deal with anything I had to deal with.
For sure.
And it's just, I feel like this is my chance to get back and to have something good kind of come out of such a horrible situation.
Yeah. Wow. God is giving you back your ministry.
He is
Wow.
giving me back my ministry. That's a great way
Yeah.
of putting it. I love that.
Wow. That is a beautiful way of putting it. Yeah, I really do feel that the things that we go through are there for us to grow and learn. And all those things that we learn are here for us to be generous and help others with. And you are the quintessential example of that. You've taken such a tragic situation that began so horrifically with him just falling in front of you, and then just sticking with him and figuring it out and leading. You had to lead your family
Mm-hmm.
because you were just put in that position where you had to step up and be that leader and not, oh, someone has to come along and figure this out. You stepped up. You were so strong and just facing what you were dealing with. Wow.
Yeah. And I will say too, to our other, to the people out there, like whatever your situation is, even if it's not something 100% like mine, when you're thrust into the unexpected, the rules go out the window. That's one thing I've learned. If there's anything I've learned, especially since there was a lack of support for women in my situation unexpectedly on the younger caregiving side, and just with the pandemic and just us trying to navigate, the rules went out the window. When something like this happens, the rules totally go out the window, and you have to write your own rules. Is it scary? Is it overwhelming? Absolutely. But no two situations are the same. So even if you had 50 people in the same room with a similar situation, how their brains cope with how to handle the situation, what type of illness their families are facing.
Right.
Just speaking to what I know as an example, as an analogy, it's all going to be different and look differently. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong way. So you have to really, it comes down to is you deciding strongly to just figure out how to write your own rule book, and it's going to become and be open ended with that rule book that's going to change. How my husband's health is now is obviously in a different spot than where it was 2 years ago. We're
Right.
still navigating and figuring out. It never plateaus 100% where you totally have it figured out. You have to constantly kind of look at your rule book and rewrite it. And the same thing is true with entrepreneurship. Like I'm sure you can speak to is like you are writing your own rule book. You have to be strong and have your own backbone and believe in yourself that, okay, God gave me this message and this nudge on my heart for a reason. So, how can I write it and how can I stand apart? Because obviously, with speaking now to the entrepreneurial side, there's so many niches. And the niche, I'm in a dual niche, for example. So, I'm in, motherhood and caregiving. There's a lot of stuff out there. So, I could easily let myself get into the tailspin of everyone's talking about it. I have nothing to say that could benefit anyone. That is crap. I do have something to say, and you have something to say. So, how can you have to be strong and willing to say and call that out and say, listen, I have something to share and it's unique, it's beautiful. And there's somebody out there, even if it's just one person, there's somebody out there that needs to hear what I have to say. And you
Yeah,
have to believe in that. The belief comes before the action.
for sure.
Do you believe that? Do you believe in your heart of hearts that this is something that you need to share?
Right.
And are you strong enough day in, day out, even when it doesn't feel like it's working, writing those emails, getting on social media, reaching out like what I'm doing with networking and raising awareness for my work and my brand and who I am, even though my list is small, even though I'm not as experienced as other people, it doesn't matter. I'm right where I should be and I'm doing what I believe in. And that's all that matters. Because it's divine. I firmly believe that my work is divinely given. So therefore my 100K self has already been where I'm at and I have to trust her. My my heavenly father has given me this gift for a reason. I have to trust him. And I just have to have my own back because again it goes back to writing that your own rule book. That's all
Yeah,
it is. That's
for
all it
sure.
is.
For sure. So, can you tell me, like, maybe a rule that you had to rewrite for yourself when this happened?
Right. That's a good. I love that question. That's such a unique question. Let me think for a minute. A rule that I had to rewrite. I would say, just with getting in a new industry. Okay. I never thought I would be a stay-at-home mom for one. I mean, we talked about it and thought about it, but it was just wasn't financially in the cards. But I think more on the side of the entrepreneurial side is like, I never thought I would be starting my own business. I thought I would be in healthcare until I retired. I never thought I would do anything else. I never planned to go to school or be trained or do anything else. And I am doing stuff. I'm with the help of a coach now. I
Mm,
do need that help, but I am basically teaching myself skills and doing stuff that people go to school to do. My cousin is the one that has the bachelor's and the master's in like tech stuff. And I'm actually becoming in my family the techie person. People go to me, it's like, oh, how are you doing? So go ask Melissa. She probably could help you with it. So so I've had to rewrite that mindset. Like, okay, who cares if I have no prior background in tech or online entrepreneurship? I'm going to figure it out because it's the way that I can support my family, and it's giving me an opportunity and outlet to still be at home with my family and be a mom and a wife and a caregiver first and foremost. That's my first job that I've been given, and that matters, and that's non-negotiable. But I still want to be of service, and I still want to have a ministry. And doing an online business allows me to be flexible with being a mom and a caregiver while still pursuing something that I'm passionate about. And it's fun. I'm getting to learn things and push myself. So it's something I definitely have had to work on, but I definitely have had to allow myself to write that new girl. Like, who cares? Okay. The past self of me thought she was going to be in healthcare for the rest of her life. Okay. I don't have as much experience. Okay. But I will get it. Okay. I don't have any degree or certification in this industry, like say my cousin does. So what? That doesn't mean a thing. I
yeah.
can I can rewrite my book however I want, and I can go for my dreams. So if there's any women out there on the fence about, walking through that fence to build a business, come on. If we can do it, you can do it.
Yep.
We, I don't care what it is. It's interesting. I have women there's women in the mastermind that I'm in that the niches are all varied. I mean, things that you wouldn't think to talk about and teach about, they're doing it and they're being highly successful. So don't listen to the people who are making six figures and have the perfect solution of how you should get it all done. Speak from your heart, tap into your spiritual side of yourself, and just believe in yourself and trust yourself and trust in the Lord or God, the universe, whatever you choose to believe, what your faith is, that that your spirit um that spirit has your back, and that you can be successful, and to allow yourself. I think the key word is just to allow yourself to go on this journey, because who knows where it's going to take you.
Hmm. Wow. What a great way to wrap up this episode. I love it, Melissa. Thanks so much for sharing that. I can totally, man, I totally relate with what you're saying. And the rules that we have to break, the rules that we don't even think are there. The
Absolutely.
rules that no one ever verbally told us were rules. We just
No,
understood it as a rule.
absolutely. And that's what drives me up the wall. It's interesting. Like, for example, with social media, the minute you start looking at, because it's an algorithm, they do, try to throw stuff in your face about what might, so quote unquote, interest you. Since I started my journey, especially on Instagram, it's driving me up the wall. I get all these influencers, all the feed, for influencers that have like the perfect solution. Grab such and such, to be able to hit 10K overnight. I'm like, that's not how it works. I mean, you know, they probably have a team behind them. They probably have, it's taken them a while to get where they're at. And so I think it's so important with the entrepreneur side that, that it's a long game. It doesn't happen overnight. You're going to have good days and bad days. And mindset is everything. You have to turn those negative thoughts and spin them into a way where you can leverage that. And my coach and I are really working on that right now. I'm in a challenge right now where we're really going hard in our community, practicing and doing new things with our work that we do every day, but just spinning it where we have an intentional moment where we're practicing our mindset of like, okay, I'm having these troll thoughts. I'm scared to be on scene on camera, all these X, Y, and Z. But we're trying to spin it into using it as leverage, like, okay, so what? If I'm scared, I'm still going to show up. because one person might be waiting for me to go live and hear what I have to say. One person might be, even if I haven't emailed my list in a while, one person might be really having a bad day and they need, and what I have to say in that email might be the ray of hope that they need.
Yeah.
So it's a long game. It's not easy. I'm just warning you. It's not for the faint of heart. Lemisky and I haven't gotten where we are today just by snapping our fingers and it suddenly happening. It takes work. It takes commitment, but it is a journey, and it's a lot of, and it can be fun. And personally, for me, I'm thrilled. I'm getting a chance to speak, and I figured out that my passion is coaching and sharing my story verbally and being on camera, so, or being on podcasts or whatever. So I'm very honored. Like, shout out to Lemiski for being willing to let me share
Aw.
and come on her space to share, because getting to interact and make these contacts is another skill, and it's a blessing. I'm meeting so many people around the world because I'm getting this opportunity. So just think about that. How cool is it to get to meet, the world becomes smaller and you get a chance to meet people from all over the world. So that's been really cool,
Yeah.
personally for me.
Absolutely. Well, where do we find you online if we have some women that are looking for what you're giving, with looking for your type of
Okay, so where
support?
can you find your girl? Okay, I am everywhere.
I
Okay,
love it.
okay. So, if you really want to dive in and just kind of get a taste of what I do, the best place to start would be to check out my Instagram. I go live over there. I have a ton of reels. I've done a lot of series. That is where I have a ton of content. So at Melissa Miller 2011 is my Instagram. Facebook, I will be launching a small group soon, but right now I do have my business page right now. So you can just DM me over there or tag me. So at Melissa Miller 2020. I do have a TikTok I'm revamping, at Melissa Miller 2011. And then the hub of it all is my website programs.melissamiller 2011.com. I have a lot of free resources over there for caregiving, self-care, organization. I do have a couple paid offers. I have coaching, and I'm just getting ready to launch next month, reopening my doors to my Finding Your Balance course program.
Mhm.
It's a 11 module or 7 module course with tutorials. I dive into teaching my prompt method to manage this crazy chaos when you're adjusting to being a stay-at-home mom and spousal caregiver. And plus, when you sign up, you do get I give you 1 month, which is almost a $300 value. I give you 1 month of one-on-one boxer coaching where you get support from me one-on-one, 6 hours a day, 5 days a week via Voxer.
Wow.
So I will be opening doors soon. I do have a wait list. So if you go over to programs, melissamiller2011.com /finding your balance, that'll throw you to the waitlist page and and then you can be notified when I open doors.
Awesome. We will make sure all of those links are in the show notes so that people can get to you. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and just keep on going through whatever you're going through out there. Whoever is listening, just know that you're not alone. You're doing the best you can. Nobody knows your situation better than you do. And to just give yourself grace on those hard days because they do come, but it doesn't mean that you can't get through it.
Boom. There we go. Wrap it up. Thank you so much. All right.